All right, welcome back. Hopefully, take number 3 is going to work. So, to quickly overcap and get moving on, it had been decided that you have all accepted the job and you are off to go and collect supplies while you wanted to go to an apothecary and get some
Yes,
potions.
sir.
You do stick out quite a bit because this is mostly a human city. There are sparse other races, with probably the biggest minority being other sets of mountain dwarves
Hmm.
that are from mining communities that are out in inland Belmare. You eventually do find your way to the actual apothecary. There's a big, large, round flask potion that's sitting on a branding board up above the entrance. It's a pretty small kind of in-the-wall shop sandwiched between two much larger buildings, and there's a gigantic smokestack that sticks out the top for alchemy reagents. And you would know this as the Elder Trove Alchemist's shop. And as you go in, it's a pretty small shop. There's not too much in terms of space. There's basically a couple of shelves on each side. It's not much smaller than like a small room. And then there's a counter that is set up maybe about 10 or so paces from the door. And you can see that standing behind the counter but facing towards the furnace that's farther in the back is Elnas Eldertrove, which you know to be the woman that runs the shop. She is a fairly small-sized mountain dwarf with cropped brown hair, and she is currently dealing with a set of reagents, but hears the bell on the door ring as you enter, and turns around. Ah, Mr. Welleria, welcome back.
Thank you, thank you.
Notice your friends aren't with you. You got a new crew.
Yeah, sadly, had to separate from the last one just last night, actually.
Ah, well, I'm sure they're all doing fine. You're all a stand-up bunch. Anyway, what brings you to my small shop today?
Well, it's actually because of the new group I'm with. Ended up taking a new mission, and I'm not entirely sure how long I'm going to be out for, so I figured I'd grab a potion or two of yours.
All right. Let me go and see what I have for me. The most recent stock here. And you see as she goes and starts going through all of the different stock that she has. She has a bunch of small crates that have small vials sticking up from just kind of like a wooden mesh. Uh, and what, uh, and what specific types of potions are you going for? I have the standard healing, which I have on sale. Right now, I'm trying to get rid of some older stock. Those are about 40 gold pieces, and I've got a new batch of the greater healing potions that are going for 200 gold. And I
What?
doubt you are going to need any of the superiors for about 2k.
You're pulling my arm here. I'm curious. You said they'd be good if I used them within the day.
I was attempting to hold on to stock because our trade route through Helmfirth, which I hear you did open that up, which is why I'm giving you the sale price for 40,
You're too
is
kind.
eh, don't you try to flatter me, you bard. But the supply of reagents that I had for it weren't entirely within date. I was able to go and get them reacting perfectly fine, but they're probably only going to be good for maybe the next week or so. After a couple of days, you'll probably run a 50-50 if the potions work or not. And that's all I can really tell you. I mean, they're running kind of old. But hopefully, by the time you're back here next, the trade route through Helmfirth will be bustling again to hopefully get some better stock in, and hopefully at that time you should hopefully have another score, I suppose.
I'd be surprised if I didn't. And he starts taking out the bag Brad gave him earlier, as well as his own, and takes out specifically 4 gold pieces from his own. I currently only have enough for the lesser healing. I already sent off all the rest of the money that I had, so hopefully I end up using it by the time the reagents are still functional, instead of just being really tasty earthen flavors.
I was gonna say, you may want to check your ears, lad. I said 40, 40.
Right.
I mean, if you have anything for trade, I would be available for that. Although, you wouldn't happen to be heading down south, would you?
We will be, yes.
If you'd be willing to do me a favor, I'd be willing to drop it down to 15.
Well, what's the favor?
To put it frankly, what I need is a set of beastkin blood. Something that is beast-like is, unfortunately, it will not do to have humanoid blood. It will not do to have a beast blood. It has to be a bestial human. And it doesn't have to be much, just has to fill up one of these little adventurer vials. And she holds up a lesser healing potion vial. It's about like the circumference of your thumb and about the length of like your pointer finger. Like you'd be able to stick like your middle finger down it fine and probably like hit the bottom. I just need to fill it up with this right here. And then that should allow me to go and put together some strength potions, which should more than cover the cost of the discount here.
Right.
So you get me that. You don't even have to actually bring it back to me in person. Just take this slip right here, and she pulls a small roll of kind of almost like a receipt size piece of paper. Simply cork the bottle, wrap it up in this, and put it in any post, and it should make it back to me fine. Postage is already paid.
Perfect. That makes that a lot easier. In that case, as you know what, I'm curious. Would you happen to have anything to insert the blood inside of the container?
Unfortunately, I don't, but given your profession, I'm sure you can find out. I mean, even if it's just a drip of blood, you should be able to fill it up. I mean, just if you find a willing beastman or something, a simple slit of the palm will do. Or if you find more of the more likely ornery bunch, then, well, you'll have to fulfill your profession as I do mine.
He tilts his head slightly, trying to think about it. You know what? You make a hard bargain. I'll take you up on the favor. Hopefully, should be back there. At least the container should be here within maximum 2 weeks.
That should be fine. I don't need to make the next set of potions until then. Majority of clients are still awaiting on stuff from Helmfirth anyway, so it's not like they're going to be on my back about it yet. So, here you go. Here's the one potion of lesser healing, and then here's the slip for that as well. And then this is the vial for the blood that I will need sent back. Apologies to send you on such a gruesome task, but it's unfortunate that don't exactly see a matter of beastmen out on the islands. They're usually all inland and usually not of the type to want to necessarily part with something like their blood. A very awkward conversation to have.
Believe you me, it's difficult to not want to separate yourself from something so important.
Yes, well, unfortunately it is very heavily wanted, especially by those of the brawnier variety.
As they're talking, Wylle was like putting the vial away into his bag, making sure it's safe and secure.
Alright, well, is there anything else that I can do for you?
Considering I have only pocket change at the moment, I'll have to come back in another time.
Yeah, well, that's what you get for sending it all out to your ma. Anyway, do come back safe, and like I said, simply just mail off the Beastman blood and we should be fine.
Will do. And he like waves and turns around and leaves the cute little shop.
Alright, good day to you.
Have a good day.
Following that, is there anything else that anybody wanted to look for?
Yes, I would like to fill up my flask.
Make a active perception check for me.
Yes, sir. Active perception.
You look around, there's not really a bar around here. You're kind of like a semi-merchant or like alchemist's lock. And you do eventually find a bar. It's still kind of midday, so they're not really setting up for like people to be drinking just yet. In fact, you actually see that as you're coming by, they actually toss out a guy that looks like he's trying to start drinking midday. As you approach, it's a pretty rustic bar, pretty standard. There's a bunch of tables off to the right. There's a counter where you can see a bartender is cleaning a bunch of glasses and wiping down the counter. And he looks your way and says, "Aye, what can I do for you?"
I will hold out the flask. Relatively to my hand, it's the size of a regular flask. And I'm going to ask, could you fill that up, please? Something strong, preferably.
If you're looking for strongest we have right now is the Dwarven Ale, which we're looking at 1 silver, probably for a fill-up. Standard Ale is going to be 4 copper, and the cheaper of the variety, or cheapest that we have right now, be the grog, going for 2 copper pieces.
No spirit?
I'm afraid that is all that we have at the moment.
That is fine, thank you. I will have a fill-up of the Dwarven Ale.
Alright, that'll be 1 silver piece.
Do you have change?
Aye, here. And you can see him dig into one of his front pockets and takes your gold, hands you the 9 silver.
Thank you.
I will also mention here that I am working with a 10 scale system. 1 platinum is 10 gold, 1 gold is 10 silver, 1 silver is 10 copper.
I'm just very happy that he didn't try to rip me off because Sigurdhur cannot really do math. And besides, it's mostly alcohol to keep me going.
And you can see that, yeah, he takes your flask, goes back to one of the taps, and fills it up pretty much right up to the top. Screws the top back on and hands it back to you.
Thanks.
Don't spend that all before the afternoon, you hear?
I will be very rude and not give an answer, because I can't make a promise like this.
He didn't seem to care. He sees you just kind of leave it. You would almost expect to see him just kind of like wave his hands like, yeah. You just kind of leave without any hubbub, and you're on your way. Right, and anything, Mizu?
I think the entire time Mizu has just been going for her spell scroll and just been reading.
So, as you eventually all make your way back, you do know that, while you especially know that you have to head out to one of the docks and take the ferry from the island of Belmare out to inland Belmare, which is generally pretty easy, is you just show your paperwork to the ferry and they don't even charge you for passage. That's all provided by the guild. And they allow you onto a small boat that's manned by maybe like 5-10 people. And you're just given kind of a basic passage across. It takes about maybe half the day to be able to get from Belmare onto the inland with favorable winds. About to say, while you are no stranger to this, Sigurdhur, you've been on a boat once or twice to be able to get to Belmare. What about you, Mizu?
First time.
Okay, so to kick this off, I would like you to roll me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh boy.
Don't worry, this won't be too bad.
Ah!
So, this being your first time on a boat, you've been in the water. You are no stranger to that. But you're still not entirely certain, like, being on a boat, floating in the water. Every time the ship rocks and shakes, you have to adjust your balance and your footing. And it does start to make you a little bit queasy to the point of looking a little bit green.
Yeah, as you said, being in the water is different compared to being above the water. So I feel like when the ship initially starts moving, Mizu was like, okay, this is okay. And then it just gradually got worse. Mizu stepped up to the railing and just kind of held on, but then somehow that made it even worse. Because looking at the water from there, from that point of view, just feels weird. So Mizu just kind of like exhales shakily and then tries to move towards the middle of the boat and closes her eyes and just tries not to think about it.
Is she still standing, or?
I think at this point she just kind of like slumps down onto her knees and just sits there.
As you slump down, Coco pops out and kind of holds himself around the back of your neck.
Oh, cute. It's like a neck pillow.
Yeah, kind of. For the most part, your voyage out to inland Belmare is pretty uneventful. From that point, eventually you land, getting off the boat, and again, because passage was paid by the guild, you are not charged for that. And eventually you are back along the coast. There's long forests that line the entire countryside. There's not a huge amount of trees and greenery, but it is still a forest. From this point on, you have to make your way west to the South Road, which you just kind of head off, and maybe within like an hour or two, you actually arrive at the intersection between the west and the south roads, at which point it is starting to get a little bit late. Is the majority of the stretch going down the south road to Barmwich is going to probably take the better part of daylight tomorrow, and it becomes pretty common understanding that, yeah, you should probably camp here. And by luck, there's a small tamped down dirt area off of the side of the intersection where there are pre-made campfires and stuff.
Nifty.
Yeah. If there's anything that any of you would like to do prior to your first long rest of the campaign, definitely do it now.
Ooh. I mean, since we're out in the open, I feel like Mizu would scout out the area first. So I'd like for her to start casting a ritual, detect magic, just in case.
So to the rest of you, as you start to kind of drop your supplies and start rifling through your bags to get everything ready, you do see Mizu eventually sit down and start chanting magical words with her scroll. Eventually, after 10 minutes pass, you can see that her eyes kind of light up as she starts looking around the camp. Yeah, while you obviously know exactly what this is she's using a ritual, it's pretty common for spellcasters to utilize things like this so that they don't exhaust themselves before a fight. And Sigurdhur, you've seen stuff similar to this. Most of the times, it's the druids that do stuff like this, although the words and the way that they move about are different, and there seems to be a lot less nature or natural, like, spellcasting foci involved.
So a sort of uncanny sense of familiarity is what I get from her.
It's familiar but different,
Yeah.
basically.
I'll take a careful step back.
She's a bomb. Careful.
Yeah. Okay, so as you look around the campsite, there's not really a lot that you can really see. The spell Detect Magic really only gives you a sense of magic that is in the area and what school. You can see that it looks like there is a very faint amount of evocation magic that is in the actual campfires, you would assume. Probably to help them start easy. But other than that, a majority of the area around you is completely barren of magic.
Which is technically a good sign.
Yes, it means that there's no magic at play except for the little
Fire.
campfires, which are just very standard. It's just a ring of stones and some charred kindling in the center.
In that case, I suppose she can dismiss the magic now and focus on setting up camp.
And at that point, I would also like to mention that I believe only one of you has a tent.
What?
I believe I'm sure as hell it ain't Wylle.
Wait, I also have a tent. What?
Well, no, only you, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, only me?
I have a bedroll, that's fine. Except if it rains, but
Yeah.
will it rain?
I don't know.
We don't know.
Does it look like it's going to rain?
Do
At
we
the
have a
moment-
weather forecaster?
I mean, if you want to try to roll an active... Actually, what would that be? That would be a nature check.
I think it,
For
yeah,
one of you.
nature sounds
Nature.
reasonable.
I'm not very good at nature.
Can I?
Yeah, anybody that wants to.
Oh.
Mm.
Damn.
Yeah, a 4, a 14, and a 5. At the moment, it doesn't seem like it. That was to figure out if you can see what is going on right now. In order to figure out approximately what the weather is going to be like, I would like somebody of your choosing to roll a straight D20.
I'll say Mizu is too busy setting up the tent, so you two fight it out.
You know what? I was the one who asked. I'm going to roll. Ah, fuck.
Alright. You all set up camp, and for the most part throughout the rest of the night, there is not a raindrop in sight.
Okay, that's good. But yeah,
And-
that is going to become a problem.
Unless there is anything else that you all do, I assume that you go and take your first long rest?
Yes, I think so. Unless
Okay.
we want food. But
I would like to forage for some food.
Okay, alright.
Mizu can go fishing!
In that case, both of you roll me a survival check.
I'm good at this.
Survival.
I'm not that good at this.
Let me see. So, Sigurdhur, you kind of try going and hunting around. You are able to eventually catch 2 squirrels. It's not really going to be enough to really be like a full ration. It's definitely the main portion of a ration, but there still needs to be more to it to really sustain you for the evening. Luckily for you, you are still fairly near to the coast. There's a couple of small lakes that do support a small abundance of fish. And Mizu, you are able to, with the assistance of Coco, go and catch a decent-sized fish and 2 smaller fish. So that should hopefully cover the majority of a ration for pretty much everybody here, between what you and Sigurdhur already caught.
Yippee!
Good.
So no ration mark-off for tonight. Is there anything else?
I think that's it.
I
All
think
right.
I'm ready to rest.
Yep, so as you go and progress throughout the night, it's pretty uneventful. It's partially cloudy. There are still some stars here and there for those of you without a tent. The difference is pretty striking because I believe, Mizu, you have a 2-person tent.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah, so while you're no stranger to just sleeping in the bedroll on good nights, you know enough to be able to sleep beneath tree lines when it's raining. And Sigurdhur, you're just used to kind of bearing all of it. But for the most part, the night was fairly nice and quiet. I mean, there is still some sea breeze winds that do occasionally penetrate the forest and make stuff howl at night, but in generally not too bad. As morning breaks, the weather seems to have held up pretty darn well. In terms of the actual temperature, it's still pretty normal for the season. You're in about early to mid-summer, and the wind itself seems to have completely died down from when you made your voyage inland. And all of you are able to pretty easily just pack up your supplies at the end of the morning and make your way south. You end up traveling for a majority of the early morning. And it's all pretty uneventful. You do occasionally see a small wagon pulled along by like a single horse and rider with maybe his family in the back that are just carrying basic supplies north and south. But usually it's only about like maybe one or two every other hour. From there, what is this? Let me check passive perceptions. So the first person to what was that?
The cat
My
was
cat.
sneezing.
Yeah, so first off, Sigurdhur and Mizu, both of you actually notice this at the same time. You come across a broken wagon wheel about halfway through the day. And while eventually when they point it out to you, you do notice it as well on your own, but you do a couple of seconds after the rest of them do. I would allow an active investigation if you want to inspect the broken wagon wheel.
There we go.
Oh, good.
Alright, so, while you are no stranger to the sights and findings along the road, and you take a look at this specific wagon wheel, and you can immediately tell that this wasn't something that just fractured off of a roaming cart. This isn't something where it's like, oh, the wheel just failed and broke off the side. You notice that this was impacted from the side, as in somebody swung either some form of very thin hammer or an axe at this specific wheel and shattered the axle and caused it to go flying off of the cart. You look at some of the markings in the dirt that still exist. It's still, a lot of it has worn away. Supplies that you are tracking came through here more than a couple of days ago, so there's been a chance for the weather to deteriorate the tracks a little bit. But you still don't know entirely if it is yours, but it is still a potential lead on your target. You're able to see that it looks like there is a set of footprints. You're not able to tell of what, that appear to be running off into the distance in the direction that you are heading. And you can see that there is scuff marks where the wheels would have been running up against the road.
I'll really simply tell the other two that this didn't just fall off. This was forcibly broken off of someone who was transporting some stuff. It's been a little while because the footprints aren't very apparent anymore. But if it's anything to do with what we came here for, it might be worth to keep an eye out on.
Guess we found our first clue.
It's entirely possible.
Alright. Would you guys mind to wait for a little bit so I can try and investigate with a spell of mine?
Be my guess. These footprints aren't going anywhere.
Right. Few minutes. And with that, she takes out her scroll again and settles down on her knees and starts casting with her little magic words.
Would you like to describe Mizu's spellbook?
Oh, her spellbook is actually a spell scroll. It looks like some kind of weird golden case, and the scroll itself is like a translucent blue. And once you unfurl it, it feels almost endless, and the little details and writing itself almost feel like they're glowing on the parchment. And once she lays it down, she like kneels in front of it, hands together as if she's praying, eyes closed.
By the way, as she's doing this, Walf has his flute out and is playing a little bit, passing the time while he waits.
He's just having a toot.
Yeah, shut up.
He's playing Cotton Eye Joe.
As the 10 minutes pass and the ritual activates, you are able to take a glance around, and you do not detect any kind of magic either on the broken wagon wheel or on any of the tracks, or specifically on anything that is around you.
Which means this isn't caused by anything of magical nature. This was caused by some creature, possibly? Or a thief?
It's up on the same page that there was some kind of weapon damage. There are both footprint tracks and caravan tracks that lead off farther south into the distance, and you can tell that by the spacing of the tracks, they started moving faster. Considering you have a set amount of time, I will allow you to either go with your passive investigation, which is a 9, or you can make an active roll in this case, whichever you would prefer.
I would like to make an active roll. Please. Please, please.
It's still better than the passive. So as you are going through these, there's a lot of things that you do recognize from being able to track animals. Is specifically, again, about the spacing between the paces, and attempting to look for like how deeply into the dirt they actually go. And you're able to figure out that what you do find is that there is one set of footprints that is very well defined along the edges and does sink a little bit further into the dirt than the rest. And this would signify to you that somebody with these tracks is wearing heavy armor, which you would know matches up to one of your potential targets. Is you also notice that one of the sets of tracks isn't made on the dirt road. But the thing that strikes you odd is that eventually you accidentally actually step into a small divot in the grass alongside the road, on the same side that that wheel would have fallen off on. And you take a look at it, and there's a big old track there. You can't tell what it is, but you know it's not human unless you're looking at a giant. It's not set into the actual earth, just the grass is pressed down. If you hadn't rolled exactly a 10, you would have missed it.
Sheesh. I convey the information. There was someone at the caravan and he was wearing a heavy armor. And there's something else. I don't know what that is.
You do spend a couple of minutes and try to check approximately what else might be around here, and you don't find anything of real interest from there. Then, following south, while you, of course, understand that this is a pretty well-traveled road, it's not that off to find bits and pieces of caravan or just random junk that might be lying on the side of the road that was either knocked off of a cart unknowingly or was possibly grabbed by any kind of wild animal, because there's squirrels that will occasionally go and grab something shiny off of a cart and make off with it. It starts to be about mid-afternoon. It's kind of right in between midday and the start of sundown. And you come across a kind of more rocky area. The path itself is still fairly flat and level, but there's hills or cliffs off to the left and right sides at random points. And it is at this point that I would like to have everybody make a perception check.
God, I really
Oh, God.
roll like shit today.
All right, so
Mizu is
Mizu-
really carrying this game.
Yeah, Mizu saving the day right here. So, as you're kind of going along, while your head is roiling with the different possibilities, is this is a road you've taken many times, and you are trying to think about what the hell this could actually be. And there's any number of things that go along this road. There's regular bandits, there's occasionally an orc band here or there. Usually it's dealt with pretty quickly and they don't hit much more than one caravan before they're dealt with. But there's never anything this big. This is, again, kind of the main road south through Belmare, the entire country. So it's kind of like a highway. And Sigurdhur, you're no stranger to tracking animals, but something this big and in environment that you are completely untrained in, you're not really getting much. You're still kind of trying to scratch your head of all of the things. And it is at that point, Mizu, that both you and Coco immediately perk up hearing hysterical shout. It's not very loud, it's very far off in the distance, but it sounds like somebody had like a singular laugh.
Oh no.
You look around, you can't see anything in sight yet, but you definitely heard it. And you can definitely tell that that is a voice, that is not some kind of trick of the natural sounds of the woods.
She knows from which direction it's from.
Yes, it is straight in front of you.
Mizu gestures to the other two and tells them to follow her quietly, sneakily.
Alright, so you do slow down your pace, which allows you to roll a stealth roll. And over the next course of maybe 10 minutes or something, you keep moving slowly, and every once in a while you do hear the sound of a singular laugh. It's more than one creature, because they sound very similar, but it's clearly that one has more bass to it, the other one has more alto to it, and it appears to be back and forth. It almost sounds like somebody telling jokes. After a certain point, you can hear it pretty clearly. You can hear speaking coming from a cliff below you. Just off in the distance, Mizu, you can see the head of a large creature. Something that is approximately 10 plus feet tall. Its head is almost over the size of a tree. It dwarfs even Sigurdhur. You've never seen anything like this. It is completely alien to you. It is this large, four-legged, hairy creature with these two pointed ears and a very long but square muzzle with these gigantic, blood-drenched teeth. Given your stealth check, it does not notice you. It appears to be kind of sitting on its rump and taking a look at the other creatures that you can't really get a good look at just yet. The cliff that drops over here is probably about 30, 40 feet tall. If you got close, you might be able to peer over it and see what's going on. From this point, you may make a stealth check if you want to get closer to see what's going on, but you can hear a conversation that does not make any sense to you. It is no language that you speak.
I would like to make a stealth check and peer.
Okay.
Now for the stealth check.
Oh. As you are starting to make your way over towards the cliff, I'm going to go and let me know if this isn't the direction that you would have moved in, but I am going to go and move you over here. As you get close to the top of the cliff, you are able to see over the edge, and you see a bunch of creatures that you have only ever really heard of. You've heard them called gnolls before, but you don't know anything about them. All you know is that they are savage raiders, and they occasionally go and attack shipments or attack tribes. You see, your grandfather apparently killed one of them once, but there has not been a gnoll raid up where you lived for decades. The show of strength that was made by one of your prior generations was enough that they decided to leave the area. As you are going and trying to pull up those memories, you miss a small rock that ends up accidentally getting kicked by one of your feet, and it goes tumbling down the side of the cliff face here. And immediately, the large creature that you see over on the side immediately stands up and looks over into your direction.
Oh my god.
Okay, encounter started. Everybody roll an initiative.
Yes, sir. I am very sorry.
It happens.
Pain.
You got 22. Oh, it's both Sigurdhur and Mizu before Sigurdhur.
Mizu has a 9 because she rolled. The first it was a 9.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I see it now. Yeah.
So it also kind of makes sense. I mean, Sigurdhur, you are on edge, so you do go and but there is a combat carousel that I am attempting to utilize for the actual combat, similar to how Baldur's Gate does it. Yeah, fine, I'll just do it like this.
Take your time because that means I can pee.
Okay, yeah, go do that.
Yes, I...
Oh, I was gonna say, were you able to see that roll?
Yeah.
Shit. I just realized that all of the names in here are unfortunately wrong as well on the tracker, but fuck it. Does it show you the name and the result?
It says Null Pack Lord 12.
Fuck.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, how about this one?
Yeah, same thing, but with a 10.
Thanks, Foundry.
Hi. Oh no, why I sound so tired? What happened?
It's Foundry is not hiding the information, and it unfortunately is also not showing the names correctly. For some reason, it is calling everything Null Pack Lord.
That would be a strange pack if there were 7 pack lords in it.
I mean, hey, they're really into commune democracy. Like, come on. Don't judge a book by its cover, Anne. Anyway, as you go and see that, yes, this does cause them to become alert, combat then begins. Beginning the combat, Sigurdhur, you see that the gigantic creature that is behind one of the more well-dressed gnolls notices you and looks directly at you and begins growling. It is your action.
How high is the cliff right in front of him?
It is about 40 feet up. You would be able to possibly slide your way down safely, but I would say that that would take up your action.
It will take up my action.
Yes, kind of jump down the side and use your foot and one of your hands to slowly glide your way down off of the wall.
That is fine. I'm willing to do that.
All right.
Okay, that's sweet. Then, as my bonus action, and seeing the hostility that is very visible on those knolls, there's something that's going to be awakened within Sigurdhur, and it's going to say, "Oh yeah? Yeah, you wanna fight? You wanna fight?" And I'm going to rage.
So, I believe that there is a special effect of that as well that you need to roll.
That is correct. I will need to roll a d8, I believe.
Which, surprise,
Okay, so-
surprise, now it's out of the bag. Sigurdhur is a wild magic barbarian. Okay, so 6.
Until my rage ends.
You are surrounded by multicolored protective lights and gain a +1 to your AC, and while within 10 feet of you, your allies gain the same bonus. So would you like to flavor this?
Yeah, I would. So as I start getting fight happy, there's a bunch of fireflies that are going to gather around me and shed a very strong green and blue-green light, which is sort of reminiscent of a magical fairy fire. And this is how it looks to outside observant. I flavor it that all my wild magic barbarian stuff is druid flavored, because this is the culture in which Sigurdhur grew.
And there we
There
go.
we go! That is my turn.
Okay. Next up is Wylle.
Yes.
So you immediately hear a rock go down a cliff, and you can see the head of the large creature out in front. Take notice of Sigurdhur as he just leaps down the cliff.
God damn it.
And I would say that only you would probably know what this is. This is a giant hyena. These are typically mounts of Knoll warlords and pack lords, and are generally a pretty beefy target.
Gotcha. Okay, so this one ain't gonna be fun, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go to the edge of the cliff. That does say 30 feet, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna go to the edge of the cliff. And I'm gonna play a quick little song as a bonus action for Sigurdhur and give him bardic inspiration. Hopefully he ends up using it in the next 10 minutes. And once I get to the edge of the cliff, I take a quick look over at, what else is here, because I imagine just a giant hyena isn't gonna be by itself.
Yeah, you see a pretty sizable little band right here.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go scream at this dude specifically, and just yell at him in Infernal. Just make sure he can't hear me, but know that I am not exactly screaming anything good about him. And I'm gonna try and cast Vicious Mockery on him.
Okay.
So a Wisdom saving throw of 15.
Okay. And he fails.
Let's go.
So,
Just a simple little 2 psychic damage, nothing major, but if he tries to attack Sigurdhur, he will have disadvantage on his attack roll.
Nothing major, you just hurt his feelings.
yeah. As you go and throw out an insult that he seemingly does not understand, you kind of shake his head and he doesn't seem that much worse for wear. I'm assuming that is the end of your turn?
Yes.
Then immediately following, he kind of looks at you, looks at Sigurdhur, and kind of in response to what you said, Sigurdhur, he's like, nodding up and down really, really fast as he unhands a gigantic glaive, goes and starts slowly moving his way forward to you. As you can tell, he is cruising for a bruising on you. And then as he reaches where he is, you can see him gesture back to all of his boys and just lets out this resounding howl that just echoes off the cliff face, just that gets all of his boys at attention, and immediately they all start having these mad bloody grins and start unsheathing all sorts of weapons.
Oh crap.
And that is going to be the end of his turn.
Damn.
The boy next to him is going to... He was rummaging through something at the campfire and drops something bloody on the floor. You can't tell what the fuck it is at this point, it's so mangled. He immediately goes and starts galloping towards Sigurdhur. And And that ends his turn. There's another boy over by this absolutely bloody mess around the campfire that drops a mace and then picks up a set of 2 short swords that he had behind his back. And he goes and leaps the campfire over to go and join his boys.
Ooh, that's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
This is fine.
And this is your girl dinner.
Jeez. Then in the back is a much smaller hyena, and you can see it makes its full movement, but not immediately in the direction of Sigurdhur. You can see it's kind of pacing around the back, judging how best to approach. Then, immediately following that, this boy was like head deep, and you can actually see that as he pulls his head up, his head was in a jar. He just like drops it and it shatters next to him, as he then goes and pulls out 1 short sword and then immediately starts jumping over a lot of the debris and detritus. Then, this boy out in the back, following its steed over here, you can assume, because it appears to have a barding connection around its waist, and there is a smaller barding on the hyena over here, so you assume that this might be some kind of trainer. Is he actually unsheathes a longbow and begins taking aim at Sigurdhur, figuring out what the rest of the band are doing. Then, finally, we come to Mizu. What do you do?
So yeah, this is the very first real fight for her, technically, because compared to the other 2, this is new territory. Adrenaline's pumping, everything's going too fast for her to catch up, but eventually she gathers her bearings and runs over to Wylle's side, and from there on, she raises Starseeker, her staff, and you see runes start appearing beneath her, white runes circle around her, and you can hear her whispering some kind of magic spell. And she starts casting Hyokyu, which is a very specific and special spell that was taught to her by her master here.
Yeah, and I will also take this moment to state that with this campaign I have allowed homebrew spells. All of them are balanced against currently existing spells, and a majority of the homebrew spells that we will be using are simply swapping element to better fit flavor. Hyokyu or Water Sphere, is a derivation of Fire Sphere that utilizes cold damage, specifically water, to better fit the flavoring that Mizu uses. Stuff that is still within kind of the same balance tier. Yeah, so go and mark off where you want that sphere to be placed within 60 feet. Any creature that ends its turn within 5 feet of the sphere must make a dexterity saving throw, so it has not been the end of anybody's turn yet. They have not taken any damage, but if they do take damage, basically they will take 6 damage.
It says as a bonus action I can ram the sphere into one of them.
So you could cause that sphere to ram into one specific person if you like.
I'm ramming it into the one nearest. This one.
So,
Yeah, the boy self.
Yeah.
Alright, he rolled a 10. You immediately go and ram the sphere into him. And apologies if I keep pausing here. I got the hiccups for a
It's okay.
second.
oh, that's what that was.
Yeah, hold on. Let me try to solve this.
The bunny's having hiccups, oh no.
As you go and ram this into it's everybody within this general area just kind of immediately just looks over and just as you go and ram it into this boy, he just completely engulfed in this swirling sphere of water. And you can see him try to like pull his way out of it, but the suction on the thing is too strong and it just keeps pulling him into the sphere as he takes 6 damage.
And with that, I end my turn.
Alright. There is the big boy. He starts snarling at you, Sigurdhur, as he goes and charges the fuck out of you.
Oh wow, a lot of speed.
He just immediately barrels down on you and makes a bite attack.
Oh shit.
Which, thanks to your wild magic surge and the fireflies flash in his eye and just barely make him miss. You can hear just the...
Oh shit.
You can hear his teeth clasp right next to one of your ears. You can smell the saliva on his breath. And that is luckily all it can do. We return to the top of the order. Sigurdhur, what do you do?
Seeing that thing being so close to me, maul in my right hand and give him the smashing of his life
Okay, make an attack roll.
to punish him for getting that freaking close to me. Did it roll?
No,
it
it just
explained
had
the mall.
Oh shit,
So
my bad.
you stop in the middle of battle and begin explaining to the animal what a mole is, and this is what he's going to
God.
do to it. So unfortunately, you go and drop the mole, and realizing that something is up, the hyena dips its head up as you go and make a swing sideways towards its jaw, which unfortunately misses.
Shoot. Okay,
Pack Lord over here just does.
bitch. I'm going to move 10 feet to the right. So this way I remain within the range of the giant hyena, and I become more accessible to the other targets so that they don't get funny ideas.
Alright. And is that the end of your turn?
Will be the end of my turn.
Wylle, it is now your turn.
Oh boy, okay. Just again, he's really gonna try and piss off the armored guy out of all of them. He's gonna cast another Vicious Mockery.
Just barely. He's still looking over at you and kind of glaring at you, but the words that you say do still appear to reach him.
Perfect. Another little...
You see him kind of clasp his head again. He's like, and yeah, he's not too fond of you, but we'll see what he does on his turn.
I think that's it. That's it for me. I can't really do anything else.
So now we move on to his turn. Kind of in response, you can see him gesture to his boys, points at Sigurdhur, and then puts away his glaive and pulls out a longbow. Oh! He takes a
Damn.
shot at you and hits you right in the shoulder for 6 damage.
Bastard.
And he kind of looks up at you.
I will cast Hellish Rebuke. So dex save of 15, and he takes the full damage.
Unfortunately, he rolled an 18.
Okay, so he takes 9 damage?
And as soon as his arrow fires up at him, you can see these flames appear out of nowhere and just engulf him for just a split second. But he is able to swat them away with his longbow without him taking the full damage. And he just glares at you with this devilish grin. He is going to then have one of his other boys run past this over here. And because he is going to end his turn, he does take the damage of Kyokyu. I believe you have to roll that again.
Me?
Just the 2d6, yeah?
Right. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense. He rolls right past it and uses one of his arms to slap the water out of the way, and he only takes 2 damage for it. But he then gets himself within range, and Sigurdhur, this boy has a lot of blood on him. It is all over his right side of his face, covering one of his eyes. In fact, that eye is actually like a full milky white. There's blood all over his slobbering jaw. Somewhat similar to you, he doesn't have a lot of armor. He's got like a very basic leather over his lower half, but his upper half is mostly dressed in chains and hooks. And he is going to end his turn right there. Then his boy over here that is inside of the sphere is going to attempt to try to get his way out of it. And I'm going to say that he is going to count this difficult terrain to get out of it. So that is 10. And then immediately 15 to move over to Sigurdhur and try to make his full set of attacks. He makes his first swing and still a little bit disoriented from getting out of it. He tries to make a vertical swing that ends up landing between you and the rocky wall. But then he kind of tilts it to the side and tries to make an upward slash where he then goes and also misses. Another one of those little fireflies flashes in his eyes as he goes is unable to go and make his attack, and then utilize his special ability to use Insight Rampage. Utilizing his reaction, he is going to then go and incite the wrath of the giant hyena, which is now flanking you.
Ah, shit.
That is going to be a +5. I believe a 21 hits. You take 5 piercing damage as this gigantic hyena is just barely able to bite into the back of your neck.
Oh, shit. Fuck.
Next up, we have this boy over here, the smaller hyena. He doesn't really do much as he makes his 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Kind of sits there, still stalking around the back, trying to figure out what to do or what's going on. That ends his turn. The boy over here that was currently dealing with a lot of the prior kind of garbage starts making his way over. So 5, 10, 15, 20. And is going to end his turn right there. But he's going to pull out both of his short swords and get a little bit closer to the ground on all fours. You can tell he's getting ready for something. Then following, we have the other knoll all the way out in the back. You can see him go and stop by whatever this square is. You can see him go and reach either into it or around it. You can't really tell what, but spends his action and he is done. All right, and then Mizu.
She's gonna ram the sphere into the one that's readying his stance here. And you can tell the water motion gets really sporadic and really rapid. It starts swirling around as if it's some sort of inward whirlpool. And then, so long as I can stop him from readying whatever he was doing.
Yeah, you go and basically just ram the sphere of water directly into him, and he is almost entirely engulfed. In this case, because this was your action, roll damage again.
Mm-hmm.
If this isn't how it's supposed to be rolled, fuck it, we ball. As he takes 6 cold damage, you can see the edges of the water kind of foam white. You can tell that there's some kind of a force being run over him that is grinding him down with the inward pressure of the water. He is still on all fours, gripped tightly into the ground, but that is about all that he is able to do.
Alright.
And so
Fuck
is that
boy
your
emoji. Yeah.
Alright. Next up, we have the big boy out back, as the large hyena over here then goes and gets directly behind you, Sigurdhur, and takes another chompy at you. Luckily, though, he did have to let go after his prior bite, and because of the swings that the other knoll is making at you, you definitely dodged his glaive attack, and at the same time, the giant hyena tries to bite down behind you and misses. You hear its teeth clash together right behind you. And at that point, we return to the top of the order, Sigurdhur.
They are very nicely lined up. Let me see if I can draw it in a way that touches as many people as possible.
Yes, it will be specifically the creatures that are within the squares. Oh.
This was very nice. Ugh. Leviosa.
And people always trying to tell me that line attack spells suck.
I know, right?
Fuck you, lightning bolt is better than firebolt.
That's so good.
Each creature must make a dex save, 13. That is a 17, or 19 actually. Then the second boy, he takes... Oh, that is a natural 1.
Let's go!
That is the boy behind him that did get wet, I believe. Okay, and next up we have the Knoll Pack Lord. That is a 7. Makes sense, boy don't know shit about magic. And then the hyena out in the back. Oh, he rolls a 19. Okay, so roll your damage.
Yeah, I will.
Me, all according to
Come
Krakow.
on!
Okay, so... That's 1d10 for you, baby.
Yep.
Boy in front of you rolled well. He sees you rearing up and he's able to deal with it. Not too badly. Okay, and this boy out in the back, he's the one that got wet, so I'm going to say fuck him. And instead of him taking 2 damage, he's going to take 5 because of the nat 1 compounded with Mizu's help. So he takes,
Nice.
you can see the slobber from his mouth get shot backwards and form almost 2 backward tusk icicles. Then the Knoll Pack Lord, he can't really see too well with his boys in the way, and all of a sudden this line of cold just shoots his way as it hits him pretty square in the chest, and he also takes another 2 damage, with the hyena in the back being actually fairly agile on feet as it only takes 1 damage. Still a pretty solid hit on 2 of those boys, although the damage could have been better. Is that going to end your turn?
This will end my turn, yes.
Alright. Wylle?
Back to me. So after getting hit, since Sigurdhur is not looking too good currently, Wylle is going to use Healing Word on Sigurdhur. Just really make sure that he stays at tip-top shape. Oh,
Nice.
9. Just to
So
make
that
sure,
should be up to full, I believe.
Yeah, I think he only took 5 earlier.
Yeah.
Correct.
I wasn't expecting to do that well. And as a bonus action, he's gonna play a little song for Michu and give her a little bardic inspiration. And that's my end.
Next up is the big boy. So having a bunch of frost all over his chest right now. He looks at you and kind of tilts his head, confused like a dog, and then kind of shrugs, then goes and takes an aim up at Wylle again. Or actually, you know what? I'm gonna roll an intelligence check. He goes and takes aim at you again, Wylle, then shifts his aim over and takes aim at Mizu.
Damn.
I'd like to
So
use
about
a
that.
react in that case.
Don't bother, because he goes and makes the attack and his bowstring snaps. He rolled in that one. He takes a look at it, takes a second, registers what happened, takes a look at the bow, looks at you, takes a look at the bow, and then just tosses it off into the fucking woods before pulling out his glaive again. And he is going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh god, oh, spicy situation there, Sigurdhur.
Yeah, he is not too happy now, but he is enjoying the bloodlust of it, and that is going to end his turn. Next up, we have this boy over here who previously took the most of the damages. He's got these big old ice tusks and crunches down onto them. Then he is going to go and make another attack against Sigurdhur right here with one of his short swords.
This feels like a casting couch situation, damn Sigurdhur.
He dived right in. First swing, he goes and tries to swing at you once, but he doesn't want to hit his other buddy, so he swings a little bit short. Let's see, he's going to try to make the second attack. The second attack does make purchase for 3 piercing damage, and then immediately tries to go and lean in to take a bite. And rolls a 19. He ends up making a slash at you with his left arm moving left to right, and then leans his head in while he's spinning around. So he ends up actually taking a bite out of you while he's upside down, and twists. As he does, this is going to be another 3 piercing damage as he pulls a tiny chunk out of your arm.
Ugh.
Oh, you bastard.
Oh, it's gonna heal badly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You're going to die first.
You will see, because then his buddy next to him goes and does the same thing. Seeing his buddy get a bite in, he wants a bite too. That is another 2 piercing damage on you. He misses one of his short sword slashes, but then kind of tries to mimic the same motion as his buddy, but with the short sword, as he hits you for 2 additional piercing damage.
I am tanking.
We're gonna go see the hyena who did get hit by the frost and yowls a bit, and then is going to actually go and move over to its handler and end its turn right there, trying to shake off and bite off a lot of the frost that is freezing its fur right now. Next up, we have the last boy who was completely engulfed. He is going to then go and attempt to try to make his way out of it. Let me roll a strength saving throw. He pulls and pulls against the current of this till eventually he's able to make his way out, utilizing most of his movement, and ends his turn over here, shaking himself off like a dog.
Oh, he wet.
Yeah, he wet, and you can see that there's fur patches that have been ripped off of him by the suction force of the water. And then that is going to end his turn. Next up, it is the handler boy. He is going to go and finish grabbing whatever he has out of this thing, and he is actually going to then go and mount up. And that is going to take his action. And we will now consider them a mounted unit.
Can you see my thing, what I'm planning?
Yes.
Seeing that Sigurdhur is in dire need of help right now, and the other Gnoll escaped, it's at this point that she moves the sphere up to the spot where I'm pointing at.
We move that
Yes.
right over here.
Yes, and everyone surrounding it should have to throw a dex saving throw.
Yes.
Nice.
Nice.
Good damage,
let me-
let's go.
Starting off with the biggest and the baddest, the giant hyena just meets, so he takes 4 cold damage. And then we have the flesh chompy boy. Yeah, he rolled a 5. So he takes 8 damage as you go and see that a majority of the cold around him starts entirely encasing his entire back, and especially the chains that were surrounding his back, which are now frozen to his flesh. And then finally, the big boss boy, he unfortunately makes the save as well and only takes 4 damage as he is able to lean his lower half forward and lean out of the way. Alright, and is that your turn?
Yes, that's my turn.
Okay.
Mizu has not moved once. She's a true black mage.
Yeah. And then the smaller hyena is going to take its own turn to be able to start moving. And they're going to actually start moving away. And that is going to end their turn. Back up to the top, Sigurdhur, you're looking pretty comfy over there.
I'm surrounded with good friends, you know? As I identify this guy as the pack leader, I would like to grab him by the mane as part of my attack and smash the head of my mole inside of his ribs. I want it to count as a regular attack, it's just for flavor.
I'll allow it, make your attack.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Pain.
You
Bardic.
Yeah. Bardic inspiration.
Be useful.
Roll a d6.
Fuck.
He is able to go and twist his head to the side. Their necks do extend out from their body slightly horizontally, so he does have a certain amount of twist length that he can make as he goes along with your twist and wrenches your hand off of his neck as the mole swings right by his ear.
Shit.
And he takes a second to look at you and just...
I don't stop smiling, but inside I'm panicking.
Wylle, it is now your turn.
Is the big guy wearing any armor?
Oh yeah.
Perfect! Wylle is getting a little worried for Sigurdhur considering the situation, and he's gonna cast Heat Metal.
And what are you specifically targeting? His armor?
Yeah. Just a simple 9 damage.
All of a sudden, his armor just starts glowing red hot. You can see parts of his fur starting to light into flame as he starts to try to pat himself out.
And it does not work,
Yes.
this poor bastard. I will continue using the flute after doing that. That's gotta be so annoying, by the way. You're catching on fire and there's just this dude playing the flute. I will also give Sigurd another good old bardic inspiration. Yeah, that's the end of my turn.
So next up, we have the Knoll Pack Lord, and I secretly rolled for something just a second ago.
Uh-oh.
He is going to go and jump directly into the water. You'll notice his head is still sticking out of it. You can see the chainmail bubbling, but it is not causing damage anymore. Cold plus fire, as he is using that to halt the effect for the second.
So, you get an opportunity
Yes,
attack
I was
if you
just
want.
going to
Yeah.
mention.
Okay.
Okay, come on, come on, come on. Roll well. I'm
For
gonna use it, I'm
inspiration.
gonna use it, I'm gonna use it.
Roll.
15.
If it meets, it beats.
Let's
You
go!
hit him right underneath the jaw as he is jumping back, and it causes him a little bit of recoil for how much damage?
Please, please, please be good. Yes, 13 bludgeoning damage.
Yeah, you clock him directly underneath the jaw as he is moving back, and he recoils for a second, but seems to gather himself fairly quickly. He is kind of looking at you like,
Yeah, I don't hit like a bitch.
that is pretty much going to end his turn. So long as he is in the sphere, Walf, you can gather that he is using the two competing temperatures.
Not for long, bitch. Not for long.
So now we have Mr. Knoll over here. He is going to go and do his whole shtick as well as bite, stabby, stabby. His favorite game. Aha!
What? What was that? Oh no,
I don't like the
this.
sound of that.
I don't like this at all.
Yes, Sigurdhur, this
Yeah?
Knoll right off to your right immediately goes and is able to sink his teeth into your jugular with a natural 20.
Ah.
Which, luckily for you, negates taking 14 damage. You take 7 points of piercing damage as this thing tears into your neck.
Okay, I'm midlife now.
Pretty happy with that. He is going to and then make his other two attacks, which yeah, that's a 21. Yeah, that's an additional 3 points of piercing damage. Immediately on a murder high. He is a little bit
Okay.
too happy with himself and seems to miss the second one because his entire mouth is just red with your blood. And you've got a pretty sizable gash in your neck that is actively bleeding.
Jesus.
Yeah.
This is fine.
And then next up, his boy Hot, Cold, and Freezy, who is going to do much of the same. He's going to go and take a chumpy, and that does hit, which makes you take another... Oh, that is 1 piercing damage. And then we're now doing this one. So this guy, he is way too happy to be making his hits. And you are taking another 2 piercing damage as these things are just hacking and biting the shit out of you in a corner.
Help.
You were the
And-
one who jumped in.
This guy is ending his turn within space of the sphere, so I'm going to just take the prior damage roll, which was 8. For the first time in this session, I am going to say, Mizu, how do you want to do this?
Yes.
Ooh, okay, the water droplets though, it feels like you're getting smashed in the face by a wall at this point.
And as all of this happens, not only does the shards of ice completely, one by one, shatter whatever is going on with his neck, he just entirely just starts to slowly freeze up and fall over. He's not entirely frozen solid, but it's enough that his fur is entirely stiff. He is now out of the turn order. Afterwards, we've got buddies out on the fringes, and using the last of their movement, make their way away.
Shit.
And they are now considered out of combat.
Good.
That's fine.
And then next up was his buddy out here on the side. Immediately seeing what is going on, is he's realizing he probably doesn't want to go and deal with a part of that. 4, 5, 6. He's going to go back towards what they've got over here, and that is about all he can do at the moment here. Mizu?
Man, I would have hoped I could still catch up to them. The ones that escaped.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna do a really ballsy move right now. Mizu is worried about in case there are survivors. And I mean, we don't know what they took out of that thing. She saw that. She was up here. Trying to think in Mizu's case that logically speaking, she would try and make sure that no one escapes. Because I, as a player, I don't care. I just want to fight. But I'm just trying to think in character right now. So yeah, she would dismiss it. And then Misty Step and run after the other ones. Mizu. Okay. Yeah, she'll dismiss Hyukyu. Misty Steps, and then she can do another 30 feet to run. Can she?
Should be able to.
Alright. Then she Misty Steps over here. And then runs up here towards the ones that are escaping. Because at least from up there, she still saw where they're going, right? It's not like they're completely gone out of sight.
Yeah, they are heading out of the way, but you've kind of lost them at this point.
That would have been nice information to know beforehand.
The sheer amount of trees in there, even if they aren't densely packed apart, is enough that you did lose them. So
can I deploy the boy? Would it be possible to pick up their smell with Coco?
You can try. Yeah, if you want to deploy Coco out and tell him to sniff around, you can do that.
Sniff snore.
And it is at that point that I will...
Because she's at least hidden away in the trees. She has enough trust in Wylle to realize that Sigurdhur is at least in good hands. That's at least her thought process. Deploy the boy!
Deploy the boy.
I mean, considering how much praise... Oh, there he is! How much praise Wylle got earlier, she has trust that he'll take over from here if 2 of them are already retreating. Or, well, one's dead, but you know what I mean. Gotta make sure that the other ones that escaped don't harm any more people. And I think after that, that's it for Mizu.
And next up we have the giant hyena, who having pretty good luck so far. He's been really two big old bites on you. You're tasty, Sigurdhur.
I'm in danger.
In their rush to hit you or bite you, they are almost knocking each other out of the way to try to hit you. Every time one of them hits you, one of them is about to hit right where you were, from you recoiling from the blow.
This is fine.
You got this, Wylle! Help him.
And he is still just trying to take chompies at you. So now back to the top, Sigurdhur.
I'm going to take a swing at the giant hyena behind me.
Okay.
Yes,
That
finally!
does
And decent damage too.
For 10 bludgeoning damage, you are able to reach back with your hammer and you actually clock it right in the side of the face pretty damn decently. It kind of recoils a little bit and shakes its head, getting ready for another bite attack at you.
Yeah, I don't joke either. That will be the end of my
Okay,
turn.
Wylle?
Mizu took off Hyukyu, right?
Yes.
Perfect.
And heat metal is now in effect again on the boss.
A good old-fashioned 2d8. Fuck.
As you finally focus in on the heat metal again, now that the icy water is gone, some of his fur that was just immediately dried off ignites again as he takes 3 fire damage. Is that your turn?
No, I'm gonna cast a Vicious Mockery on this dude.
Alright.
Again, just screaming random curse words in Infernal. He can't understand jack shit, but he knows I'm not happy with him.
That is a natural 20. Unfortunately, he just kind of looks up at you, gives you a thumbs up, and goes back to what he's doing. Just like, all right there, buddy. Okay, and that...
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Knowing everything that's going on with this, our big old buddy down here, he's going to go and take a little toss at you.
Oh, by the way, he has a disadvantage on attack rolls because he took fire damage.
So, yep, that does actually save you.
Let's
He
go!
goes and
nice.
he rolled a 9 and takes aim with you at his glaive and tosses it right by you. Basically just squares up with Sigurdhur and goes and takes a swing at him. Oh, that is almost a nat 20. He goes up Sigurdhur and just twice
Bitch.
right in the face. Rounded down, you take a grand total of 4 bludgeoning damage. And then on his recharge, right here, he got lucky. He is going to then go and glance up at the big ol' hyena again. He is going to incite rampage. And then the big old boy goes and bears down on you with its gigantic ass mouth, and luckily for you, misses. You look at him, and he is the picture of happiness at this moment. Like, there is nothing better in his life going on right now.
Jesus, get a
And
life.
then this is Knowles. Following that, his other buddy right here is going to try to grab one of the extra short swords and stick it in his mouth and go and take one of his multi-attacks at you. He takes a good swing at you, and you take another 3 piercing damage as he just grazes it right across your shoulder as you were getting clocked in the face.
Help him.
Hey guys, this is starting to feel really complicated, right? Well,
Yep. And then we've got his buddy over here is going to make his movement, spend his action rummaging through things, and you see him eventually pick up a hand axe. Then that is going to be his action. Mizu?
Does it count as a separate action while Coco is looking?
You can offer him a command, which so long as it is a sentence within 6 seconds, you can basically tell him what to do as a free action, and then you still have your own movement action and bonus action.
Awesome. I'd love for him to go find the other fuckers. I mean, she wouldn't
Okay,
word it
sure.
like that, but
Yeah, track the hyenas.
So he will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he will start spending his action to sniff around and try to find a trail.
Bless. Okay, thank you. I would like to use... fuck.
a little help there.
Yeah, I would like to use Chromatic Orb on the big one.
Okay. The big hyena?
Yes. And I would like for it to be thunder damage.
Okay. Make your attack roll.
Thunder damage. Throwing flashbang.
Okay, so that is a 21 that hits, which means they both take 8 thunder damage. With this boy over here, the big old pack lord, how do you want to do it?
I would like for him to start sizzling and you can see like the electrification.
Oh, you meant lightning.
Yeah, lightning.
Yes,
Thunder's
lightning.
the sound.
Oh.
Yeah, thunder is a different damage type. That's like sonic damage.
Oh, well then I guess his ears explode.
This man just kind of pops.
It bursts like a balloon. Thank you, Coco, for looking. I will help. With that, I think I'd like to end my turn, yeah.
The big old hyena, you can see it shake its head. It's really disoriented, and it appears to be a little bit dazed. And
Wait, does this count as disadvantage, or is that just flavor?
that's just flavor.
Oh, pain.
I am also going to just roll something really quickly.
Yeah.
I'm in danger.
Yeah, have some more battle music, motherfucker. So what you get jumping into a cliff filled with knolls. And it is now your turn again. You got 2 dead bodies next to you.
That's cool. That's great.
Yeah, you got that going for you.
Yahoo, I guess. I love fighting. Let's go. I'm going to take a swing at this one on my right.
Alright.
Hopefully he will die.
Damn.
Come on.
So,
Well, today's not my day.
Yeah, when you take a swing on him, he's kind of still enamored of that weird little twisty thing his buddy did and weirdly like twists out of the way.
You will die, and I will kill you, and I will eat your corpse. I hope you know that, you fucking bastard. It's the end of my turn.
Wylle.
Okay, now that one of them's dead, he's gonna cast Healing Word on...
Oh, thank you, God.
Oh, let's go!
Oh.
Another 9!
Nice.
You're nailing these healing spells right now.
I know, right? That's the only thing that hasn't changed.
Born to be a bottom.
I
Excuse me,
decide
healers
whether
are
you
tops.
live or die.
If
I will
anybody's the
also...
bottom, you're the bottom right now.
Once again, I will continue casting Vicious Mockery on this little guy over here.
Oh, that's a 3.
Let's go! This one hurts. Oh, it does!
Oh, he's solely focused, but you do still see a bit of blood trickling out of his ears.
Yeah, so he also has a disadvantage on his next attack
Yes.
roll. And that's the end of my turn.
Alright, and then he is going to try to keep up with his soul focus right now. He is a man determined, almost obsessed at this point. He's gonna go do a stabby. Hey, Sigurdhur.
Yeah.
So you have an opportunity here. Do you want to do a grapple?
Yes, I want to
Okay.
grapple.
Roll me an athletics check. He rolled an @1.
I don't roll great, but I roll good enough.
Yeah, just barely. He rolled a 9. So as he goes to stick his big old short sword right into your ribs, you go and basically just wrap your arm around that specific arm and you disarm him. While that is going on, though, he is going to make a bite attack, which does hit. He goes and stabs forward to try to stab you. You dodge it so that his arm is behind your back. You reach your arm around his arm and just squeeze the sword out of his hand. And then he goes to take a bite out of your forearm, which only does 1 damage.
You bite like a little girl.
And then next up, that is going to be his turn. We have the Knoll over this way. Yeah, he picked up a hand axe, and he is going to then go and start taking his leave as well.
Not on my watch!
And that is going to be the end of his turn. Alright, Mizu, so what is your watch?
Magic missile.
Alright.
Everything on that one guy over there.
And, you know, I do kind of prefer this. Roll 2 more times. I like to do each missile individually.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
Much better.
Yeah, so that is 9 total damage. So you go and send forth these magic missiles, piercing little shards that just whiz through the air like it's some form of circus, and pierce this thing right in the back of the head as he goes and takes 9 damage. And he looks over to you, looks back at the hand axe at his hand, looks back over to you, and has this devilish grin across his face.
That's my turn.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and next up we've got the giant hyena. Still really hungry, still really wants to get some of that
Delicious blood.
lizard. Oh,
Okay, hello. I'm scared.
ooh.
I'm really scared.
Okay, so this thing, having seen its master die, having seen the other compatriots of it die, and seeing its own offspring run off, it is not in a happy mood as it reaches down and bites right across your face for, and this is already halved, 10 piercing damage.
Jesus.
It rolled a natural 20. And that is going to be the end of its turn. Blood dripping from its maw. And with that, we are back up to your turn, Sigurdhur. So you got one guy grappled by the arm. He's currently biting down on you, but not very much.
I'm good. I'm going to try to finish him off. If it hits... No, come on!
Mm-hmm.
Ah!
So you go and
Fine.
you try to make a swing on him, but it's a bit difficult because he's got your dominant arm around his arm, so you try to swing across your body with your left hand, and it's just not working. It's like, effectively, you're trying to, like, swing it behind yourself.
Yeah, it's not easy. That will be my turn.
Alright,
Yes.
Wylle.
This is my last healing word, by the way.
Make it count, please.
7.
Ooh.
I can...
It's still good.
And once again, I will. He's having a good time. I'll make it even better. I'll keep cursing at him.
God, if he dies from vicious mockery, this will be funny.
That is an 11.
Oh, let's go!
Yes.
Another one. 3.
So yeah, he is still just bleeding from every orifice. It's coming out his ears, his nose, and a majority of Sigurdur's blood is still in his mouth, though, so... But he doesn't seem to be reacting anymore. He is just taking the psychic damage. He's in a blood rage.
That's the end of my turn.
Then, this boy, still being grappled, he's going to try to release himself from it, so Sigurdhur, roll me an athletics check.
Yes. Will that be his action, by the way?
Yes.
Finally, a decent roll.
Unfortunately, it meets, it beats. So you hold on to him really well.
Oh my god.
But it's only because of the blood that is now trickling down your shoulder onto where his arm is that he is able to slick his arm out of it, just barely, but that takes up his action. His eyes are just completely glazed over at this point. He is just entirely entranced with battle right now.
I mean, in that way, we're the same.
Yeah, our buddy over here is going to do something surprising. It's something they didn't do at the very start, but he's going to then go and just make a mad dash for you, Mizu. Utilizing his Knoll ability, Sudden Rush.
Oh no.
And that is going to be his turn. It is now your turn, Mizu.
Okay, so I still have a Misty Step, so that's what I'm gonna do. But it's my bonus action. So what I'm first gonna do...
I would say that with the elevation that you would be able to go to directly that point, but not higher up.
Alright. Because he would still have to go all the way around, so that's still good in my book.
Yes.
So I'm gonna teleport over here with Misty Step. I mean, he doesn't know where I'm going anyway, so he's just gonna be like,
Yeah,
huh?
no.
What?
Yeah, exactly. He's looking over here, and Misty Step does not indicate a direction. It is just you just disappear.
Yeah, she disappears into like a puff of like stars and glitter and whatever. So she's up here. She then moves here, and then as her main action, Water Bolt on the big one.
15 still hits. He takes the full of 9 cold damage. As he's got all of this blood from Sigurdhur across his face, you just smack it directly in the face as it takes the full brunt of that damage. And it then slowly turns its head to go and look up towards you. And is that your turn?
She's gonna move away. A little bit. Just a little bit. Like, oh, she did not expect that. She's gonna take a few steps back, and that's it.
And then immediately this thing is going to start to take its turn. The second that you do that, it starts scrambling its way up the rocks. It can't get much past that, but it is like biting and snapping up at the rocks at you. And Sigurdhur, roll an opportunity attack.
Yay!
Yay! Come on, work.
Roll it, baby.
Holy shit!
Yes! 2 sets!
As this thing starts to disengage from you, you go and red eyes glaring and trailing in the midday. Turn to this thing and ready your hammer. How would you like to do this?
So it's turning away from me, right?
It's turning away and it is jumping and scrambling up at the rocks to try to get at Mizu, which just hit it in the face.
Okay, so now that I have my 2 hands free, I'm going to get a good hold of my mole, and I'm going to start by smashing one of its knees in a direction that is definitely not natural for it. Seeing that it has kneeled forcefully because I broke its leg, I'm going to smash its skull open with a downward going bang of my mole.
It's just like a Gallagher in that moment. The blood sprays. Your face is covered in red, and it's also got gray matter all over your face as well. This thing
And I'm
is
smiling
properly...
all the way through.
Yeah, this thing is proper fucked. Now we are back up to the top of the turn order. Sigurdhur?
Oh, I love when you talk to me like this, Blade. I'm going to do a reverse boom with my maul, a wide arcing smash from the left to the... Oh, come on.
As you go and swing, it still instinctively tilts its head, as if it is almost acting entirely on instinct at this moment.
It's fine. I can take a hit.
Anything else?
No, sadly that will be my turn, because I can't grapple if I already attacked.
You know, just for the fun of it, you know, let's do it. Let's do it one last time. You know, let's see how much psychic damage he can handle.
That is going to be a 5.
Let's go. Okay.
It seems like he's almost building up a resistance to it because there's no blood splurt or no reaction. He is just taking it now.
Yeah, so Sigurdhur will have a little bardic inspiration.
I appreciate it, because I have not been very proficient.
I feel so bad for you.
It's okay, I'm having a lot of fun. It's keeping me on my toes, you know?
And that's it for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, now we get to go to Bloodbath McGee over here. Now that he only has one of his weapons, he is going to take a little swingy. And that is definitely not going to hit. So he goes and takes a bite attack at you, tries to hit you, but with your new singular focus on this man, you just completely easily just pull yourself out of the way as both the bite and his stabbing attack both falter.
Oh, yeah.
And that is his turn. As his body, seeing that there's other fun to be had, goes in and immediately rushes you. The other boy, you notice he picked up that hand axe, and he is going to, surprisingly enough, not use it. He's going to then go and take a bite attack, which also misses as well, as it just snaps directly beneath your head, before he goes and drives his short sword right into your arm, where you take 2 piercing damage. Can't use his other attack because he had to holster the hand axe, and that is going to be the end of his turn. That's what goddamn these motherfuckers missing even with advantage half the time. Anyway, Mizu?
Alright. I do not have any more second level stuff. I used all of it up. No, I want to keep my first level stuff for now. She walks back up now that the big guy is gone, luckily. Thanks, Sigurdhur. Yeah, I'll just use a cantrip. I'll use Water Bolt on the crazed one. Oh!
Alright.
Great.
Ooh. Well, you need to.
What's
roll
the-
to
Oh, I didn't roll. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
You roll for damage, just not the hit. Don't forget, you've
No.
18. Never mind. I'm not-
Yeah.
He does take 8 damage, and with that, I was gonna say, how do you want to end this happy little boy?
I suppose the water bolt just snipe shots the head right off of the spine.
Yeah, pretty much. You go and shoot him, and it hits him directly in the throat, which just completely eviscerates the spinal column holding up his head, and his head just drops to the ground.
Yippee!
That will be my turn.
And then next up is the one hand axe boy, who, also using his bonus action to pull out the other sword, is going to go and take his last couple of attacks on you.
I mean, he can try.
He does more than try. He hits you for another 2 piercing damage with his bite. Short sword attack number 1 hits, does another 2 piercing damage. His second attack also hits for another 2 piercing damage.
Okay, this is starting to feel really...
As he's just snickering, as his friends have all worn you down, and he can smell exactly how close to death you are.
I'm in the great zone right now. I feel good.
Are you sure about that?
Me, the player, I am not feeling good. Sigurdhur is feeling great.
For some reason, I updated the carousel. Mizu, I believe it is. Is it your turn? Wait.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Okay.
Yes, it is.
I just had my
I
turn.
It is
think,
our
I
turn.
think it moved the knoll around.
I think it did
I think he just
too.
attacked twice. He went first.
Never
Yeah.
mind. I'm probably gonna can it after this. Okay, so yeah, I'll just consider that his turn for the next turn order. So Sigurdhur, you are up next.
Gonna smash his face. He's probably still very close to me since it just beat me, so going to grab his mane, smash my hammerhead inside of his ribs, and hopefully this time it will work. Please, please.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
9 bludgeoning damage. You clock him solid in the face with that hit as he reels for a second and then looks back to you and smiles.
Why do they keep smiling?
I mean, they're gnolls. They love battle.
They should get dental hygiene first.
They don't help.
And that will be the end of my turn. Please come save me. I am at the death door.
Yeah, Wylle, it is now your turn.
Okay, because I want to go down the ledge.
Yeah, I would say it is still going to take your action and pretty much your movement to be able to get down.
I'm just gonna hop down. Yeah, that's the end of my turn.
I'm going to just skip his turn because fuck the combat carousel. Mizu, it is now your turn.
Water
Again.
bolt.
Okay.
And suffering.
Unfortunately-
Don't forget, wait, but you also have Bardic Inspiration.
No,
No,
you
no,
roll a
it's just a
D6.
1d6.
My bad, my
Yeah.
bad. We're...
Come
What?
on.
It's... Okay.
Let's go!
Yeah, let's go.
A 16.
And that is for 2 cold damage. Your aim is still hitting, but it's not quite enough. You hit him in the face, and he shrugs it off and is still bearing down on Sigurdhur, knowing how close his mark is. Alright, and Sigurdhur, it is now your turn.
Die, you freaking freak! Yes!
Regardless, how
Nice.
do you want to do this?
Oh my god. Ah, thank god. Okay, since I assume I still have a grab of his mane since last round, so with my strength of desperation, I'm going to drag him by the mane against the wall, smash his face against the cliff, and then with my right hand, smash my maul above his skull.
And with that, he just explodes into a squall of gore across the rock face. As combat is finally over.
Is it?
Good lord. Now that's done, Wyle's gonna slowly walk up to Sigurdhur.
You go and look up Sigurdhur, and there are bite marks across every inch of his exposed body. There are especially bite marks going down the back of his neck, which you realize are deadly dangerous.
I put both of my hands on his back because I imagine he's still looking at the guy he just killed and give him a good old-fashioned cure wounds.
I didn't know you still had spell slots.
That one was my last spell slot.
That was such a spell slot heavy fight.
Yeah.
I was like, oh god, I can only afford cantrips right now.
Thinking back on the rest of that battle, and you think specifically about the amount of gnolls that were there, that raiding party makes it pretty clear why there was no response from the caravan. And just seeing the basic mess that's over towards the right, you can tell exactly what happened.
What did Coco find, by the way?
Coco's kind of just been sniffing around. When you think about it, it kind of dawns on you. Otters don't really have that strong of a sense of smell. So, I mean, maybe I'm incorrect in knowing that, but
Wait,
in thinking that rather, but
actually they do have a good sense of smell, and they can also hear very well. Sea otters, yes. Sea otters have good eyesight above and below water. The nostrils and ears close when underwater. Sea otters have a good sense of smell and can hear very well.
okay, because I'm looking for the D&D stat block.
Oh, okay. This is just general sea otters, yeah. Never mind.
Hold on a second. Let me double check this thing.
Oh, that's cute! It says the large whiskers around the mouth and the nose help them sense prey.
Wait, why is that cute?
I don't know, it's cute!
In this case, given how long these things were here and how much their scent has probably permeated the area, I would say he can't get a clear trail.
It's fine, sorry about that. I just figured, because sea otter and sea otters have good sense of smell. I was like, oh. But yeah, never mind. We can just excuse it as there's too much blood and gore around here.
I unfortunately didn't have the parts to kind of match with the rest of the aesthetic of the level, but there are bits and pieces of meat and gore that are sitting around the camp. It's pretty obvious that that part from your objective about recovering the body's not going to be an option here.
Yeah.
Wylle is gonna have to... They are beast kind, right?
Yes, everything but the hyena is a beast man.
He's gonna try and get a little bit of blood.
It's actually pretty easy. You don't even have to get it off the animal. There's enough blood flowing off of the rocks, and it fills up pretty quickly. You can thank Sigurdhur for that.
You're welcome.
Alright. I guess in this case, I just want to quickly mention that since this looks very dire, Mizu folds her hands together, and you can see her start a prayer before she turns to this thing here.
Yeah, it's almost like a square offering. You can tell that this thing has been filled to the brim with blood, and in only what you can assume is some kind of ritual, although you don't know the kind. But given the fact that there's bear traps and maces and flails next to it, you can tell it's probably not good.
Oh. Yeah, Mizu grimaces at the sight. It's yucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good. Not family friendly.
Definitely not family friendly, but at the very least, that's about it.
Sigurdhur is probably going to reach into one of his pockets, take out the flask, down whatever was left of the flask in one go to calm his nerves down and sit for a minute and go down from his high.
Yeah, if you want to inspect the wreckage over here, I would roll an investigation check. You can each do it individually, or you can give each other advantage.
Oh, okay. Fuck.
Even with the low rolls, Mizu, you are rifling through the bag that's right over there, and it's not really a lot of anything super interesting. There's small smithing tools, maybe small shattered pieces here and there of some glassware, but that's kind of all that there is in the bag. While being over where you are, immediately something catches your eye, because it's unlike anything else in the wreckage. This large golden pointed discus that is buried under the rubble in here. Out of everything that's in here, it's the only thing that wasn't touched much.
I will pick it up.
You can feel kind of cold tingling in your hands as you pick it up.
Oh, I don't like that.
Before we get to that, Mizu, you wanted to say something?
I was just, if I can't find anything else, I'll take the tools with me because we wanted to take back stuff for the kin.
As you kind of go over some of the tools, like actually pull them out of the bag and inspect them, you do see that there are initials engraved on some of them. Well, as you pick this up, there's kind of a cold chill in your fingertips, but it doesn't appear to be emanating or growing stronger. It's just there.
This looks important. I'm gonna put it in my bag.
How are you? You two. Did you get hurt?
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say, you still got an arrow in your shoulder.
yeah, I haven't removed it. I just gotta turn to Sigurdhur. Well, I mean,
Please come save me.
I've been worse for wear. I should be asking you that though.
Mizu just nods at that, like, yeah.
I am at the death floor. This was tight. Thank you so much. I think you saved my ass.
Yeah, of course, no problem. I mean, we are teammates after all. Can I ask you a quick favor, actually?
Yes, you may. My head fucking hurts.
Can
What's
you,
up?
can you pull out the arrow?
What hour?
The one on my shoulder.
Oh yeah, that one. Sure.
They don't even give me
A notice or anything. Don't count down. Just do it whenever you're ready.
It's going to bleed if I pull it out. Don't you want me to break it? And
I'd
we'll
rather not have
removed?
it inside of me.
You sure?
It'll be fine.
As you wish.
Yeah, and this isn't even going to take an athletics roll. You just
This is supposed to hurt, but
Oh yeah, he starts biting down on his hand.
Luckily enough, as you pull it out, you do notice that the arrows are actually fairly crude and are not barbed like some war
thank
arrows
God.
are. You may need to sanitize the wound a little bit, which makes sense. These are fairly crude creatures. They probably tried to make the arrows themselves.
That's right.
That was not fun though. Okay.
As you are doing all of this, Coco actually comes up from behind you, Wolf, and jumps onto your backpack.
Ah,
And you can
fuck was that?
he's nudging his nose into your bag.
Don't you dare eat the rations, you little bastard. Oh, I need those.
He looks over at you and then looks back in the bag.
No.
And you can see him grab the discus, which is difficult for him. He grabs it in his mouth and just pulls it out.
I'm gonna tug at it against Coco because I don't want it running around with it.
Yeah, he sees the big old scary man trying to go and take it away, and he hops over into your arms, Mizu, and drops it against you.
Mizu basically takes it from Coco when he plops it down into her arms. She'll then look at the other two and say, "Give me 1 minute," and then you'll notice how she starts chanting something under her breath, and she's casting Identify on it.
Eventually, the response that you get out of the magical item is of very strong conjuration magic, which you would know deals in teleportation.
Let's go.
Mizu just sighs and doesn't really know how to feel about it, because I mean, they found the item, but the people are still, let's just say, hopefully in a better place now.
Yeah, actually, roll me a religion check, Mizu.
Oh, it's one of my stronger.
Okay, it's still a 5.
Damn.
Kind of thinking, oh, they're in a better place. You've also realized something. You don't know anything specific about what powers these gnolls were worshipping. You know that there is some kind of dark worship at play, not necessarily an active ritual, but you do know that a lot of evil gods deal in just sacrificial offerings, and funeral rites being something you have seen before. You get the feeling that you may want to go and take the offering bucket out. It is stone and approximately 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet deep.
Kick it.
She'll use the bottom of her staff and just bonk it.
It's kind of difficult, considering it is filled with a very thick, viscous substance, and it is made of stone itself. You are eventually able to get enough leverage and tip it over. As you do, you see a lot more items that were at the bottom of it, covered in blood. There is a small set of metal tags on a necklace. There is a couple of rings. Then there is also a silvered tooth, which you could probably expect would be the rest of the belongings that you needed.
Can I try and see if I can find a heavy set of armor in here?
Try, give me a investigation check. Yeah, you go and check through it, and you're able to find pieces like buckles and pins and hinges and stuff, but you can't find the armor itself. It looks almost like it was disassembled at some point. Although you can also see that in where some of the hinges would be, that there's broken and mangled hinges, so they may have effectively used like a hand axe to basically chop the paladin out of it.
Fuck, okay. There's not much else of importance here.
I was gonna mention very quickly, I forgot that as you go through the bodies of the gnolls and between the wreckage of the carts, you all find 46 gold.
Oh.
Oh. For each of us or total?
No, total. Roughly 15 gold each, with somebody
Yes.
getting an extra 1 gold.
I think Sigurdhur is allowed to take that extra 1 gold.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I won't say no to that.
Yeah, effectively you would all realize kind of at this point that you have fulfilled both the primary and secondary objective of the mission right now, and your only mission left is to meet your contact
Go
at
back.
the southern border.
Oh, that is grim. Oh,
This-
fine.
yeah, that was a lot. We got this a lot quicker than I was anticipating. Only took
Yeah,
us
me too.
a day.
Effectively like a day and maybe a couple of hours.
Yeah.
While
Yes, sir.
You wouldn't happen to be carrying some alcohol in your rations, would you?
Alcohol? No.
Yeah.
Keep that
No?
for taverns.
Ugh, damn it. Mizu.
When Sigurdhur looks over at Mizu, you can't tell from beneath the hood that she looks a little grim. Like, she doesn't look like she's in a position where she can reply.
Ah, shit. Wylle, do you know if it's her first time fighting?
I know her as much as you do, but considering
Ah,
her reaction, I don't think this is an experience she's gone through before. Wylle is gonna pick up, as much as he finds it nasty, he will pick up the rings that flew out of the little box.
Knowing what you know, Mizu, you would know that by removing them from this, the spirits will probably go and move on at some point, if that is any solace, really.
It's better than nothing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Specifically, your background revolving around stuff like that would be something that you would know, is that by removing somebody's personal effects from an evil shrine like this, it's all that's really needed to free them, unless they have been, like, heavily cursed.
Wyle's just gonna, I guess, try and remove as much blood as possible. Maybe take a few leaves, try and really brush it off as before. Putting them in a little dirty cloth he had in his back.
Maybe we'll find a
Yeah.
river along the way.
They may have been sitting in there, but I mean, they're mostly made out of metal, so it doesn't necessarily stick too much.
Yeah, Wyle's gonna be tucking them away, and he's planning on
Just had a weird idea. You have Coco. Just wipe it off on Coco. He's fine. Anyway, you have effectively found all of the personal remains that you have at least one thing from each person. And unless you want to inspect a little bit more into the wreckage now that you've found the item you needed, then I would assume that everybody is fine being off.
Yeah, at this point.
Yep.
You've gathered everything you pretty much can for them. Eventually, you make your way back onto the road south again. The silence is almost eerie, as there's still no wind for today. For some reason, given the effects of what you've found, it seems more disquieting. You do start to get to the outskirts of what would apparently be a city. You start seeing small buildings cropping up throughout the middle of the woods. Probably families of loggers or people that deal with husbandry of the woods or hunters. Eventually, you begin to reach into the city of Barmwich, where you are assuming you will be needing to meet your contact. And that as you reach the small city square, it's not a city proper like Belmare is, but it is still at the very least like cobbled road and buildings that are separated into blocks and side streets. As you're getting there, you take a bit to rest. There is a water fountain. You're able to wash yourselves mostly off. Sigurdhur, you kind of get the idea that it would probably be frowned upon if you tried to wash yourself off with that much blood in a public fountain, but you can at the very least get a bucket and douse yourself off elsewhere, like in an alley. So at the very least, you are no longer covered in blood and gore, but you are still cut up like a cutting board.
Yeah, I'm pretty badly beaten up. Even if I'm a savage, I know that much that I cannot show myself in front of anyone, looking like this.
You kind of just take some time to kind of just sit and rest for a little while, and I will say that this counts as a short rest, so you can regain hit die if you want. It is starting to be kind of sunset.
While we're waiting and just resting up a little bit, Wyle's actually going to be practicing his flute again, and because of this, we do get Song of Rest, which gives us an extra 1d6 health points.
You spend probably close to an hour, 2 hours just kind of waiting for pretty much anything or anyone to show up. Until a building that's about like 2 stories tall, you immediately hear a raucous explosion and a rumble in the ground as you see 2 men being flung out of the 2nd story. One of which being a brown-haired half-elf man dressed in green, and what you would assume is a companion of his, a rather well-built man with metallic dark green hair, and his entire lower body is covered in white armor. The 2 of them both seemingly land on their feet from the 2nd story, much to the hubbub of everybody in town that immediately begins gathering and trying to see what is going on. I would assume you would all want to make an active perception check. You are within the vicinity of them landing. You can immediately hear that it's like there's some people screaming. The building isn't on fire, it was just some form of force explosion. And you can hear guards running up from other angles shouting to try to get people to move aside, and that these 2 men are standing there. looking at what's transpired.
Not Mizu leading this again.
And it is surprising that you would be this perceptive after being so disturbed by the prior events of today. So
Honestly.
you can hear the brown half-elf man turn to his compatriot and says, "Well, I think that report to the guild might be a little bit more strained than we expected." And immediately you can see him turn around towards your direction, eventually see you, and he just says, "Ah." And that is where we will end the session.
By the way, you can roll a d6 and get a little bit of health back.
I'm full, thank you.